Hi trainers! Gardevoir is finally released. It's a lot of fun. I already have a gameplay of Gardevoir which will be linked down below, but in this video, we'll be going through all of Gardevoir's moves and I'll also give you some combos and builds. My name is Teeds, I've played MOBAs for over 9 years and my goal is to help you become the very best like no one ever was. Gardevoir is an attacker and is special attack based. Gardevoir has high offense, medium scoring, but its endurance, mobility and support is pretty low. This makes Gardevoir quite a heavy damaging Pokemon, but also a Pokemon that's pretty easy to take out. Let's look at Gardevoir's basic attack. So Gardevoir's basic attacks are ranged. Every third attack is a boosted attack. When this boosted attack hits, it deals damage to enemy Pokemon in the area of effect and decreases their special defense for a short time. Basically with this auto attack, you'll want to try and hit the enemy with the boosted auto. This will lower their special defense, making Gardevoir's moves hit harder. So it's pretty important if you want to maximize your damage output. Gardevoir's passive, Synchronize. When an enemy inflicts decreased movement speed or damage over time on the Pokemon, the same is inflicted on that enemy. This passive goes onto cooldown after it's triggered. With any Pokemon that gives you movement speed debuff or a tick damage, such as Gengar's Poison or Charizard's Burn, they will also be affected by it as well. So you can choose between two moves. The first move is Confusion. I recommend picking this one up first at the beginning of the game. This move will help you damage enemies and take down wild Pokemon. It attacks in a straight line and it also goes through enemies, so it will deal damage to all enemies in its path. You can then upgrade this move into either Psychic, which is a 7-second cooldown and is ranged. After hitting an enemy or traveling its maximum distance, it will deal damage over time to enemy Pokemon in the area of effect and decrease their movement speed for a short time. When upgraded, this reduces the move's cooldown as well. With this move, the enemy does have to be in the area of the move to have damage dealt to it. If the enemy walks out, it will no longer be affected by this move. The other upgrade option is Moon Blast, 6-second cooldown and is ranged. Has Gardevoir attack while moving back to create distance. When this move's blast hits, it deals damage to enemy Pokemon in a cone. It leaves the enemy Pokemon closest stunned for a short time. When upgraded, this move also grants Gardevoir a shield when this move is used. I find this move really nice. It has hard crowd control, it creates distance, making it a little bit safer for you, and it also gives you a shield, which should help your survivability. Gardevoir's second starting move is Teleport, 11-second cooldown and is a dash. Gardevoir warps to the designated area, increasing the damage dealt by one basic attack after warping. What this means is when you teleport, the next auto attack is the boosted attack. So the one that decreases the enemy's special defense. This move is pretty great. It's like another eject basically, but you don't have it for too long as once you hit level 6 you will have to upgrade it. But I find it to be a great move to reposition yourself, chase enemies and escape. You can then upgrade this move into either Psyshock, 10-second cooldown and is an area move, attacks the designated area 3 times. This move's cooldown is reduced each time one of these attacks hit an enemy Pokemon. So you can hit an enemy Pokemon up to 3 times. If you hit all of them, it's a maximum of 3 seconds taken off the cooldown. So it's pretty great if you can hit all of the move because you can just do it again almost right after. At maximum level, it will also increase the damage the move deals each time one of these attacks hit. Future Sight is the other upgrade option and is a 9-second cooldown area move. Sets a delayed explosion. When fully upgraded, it resets the move's cooldown when the explosion hits an enemy Pokemon. This move is crazy to me. If you can hit it all the time, it basically will never go on cooldown. A very interesting move. The Unite move is called Fairy Singularity, warps space in the designated area, drawing in enemy Pokemon, shoves and deal damage to enemy Pokemon the instant the warp space disappears. It's a huge area move that is fantastic for team fights, really sets up some good damage and a lot for your allies as well. I feel that this move will be great when contesting Zapdos. If you're ambushing the enemies, you can just throw it out there and it'll just set up so much for your team. Plus, Gardevoir has a lot of area moves that also go really well with its Unite move. So these are the moves. I really like Gardevoir's kit. I feel that there is a lot of possible combos you can do with it. If you want to throw some combos out there in the comments down below, feel free to do so. Here are some combos that I like for Gardevoir. Just make sure you also use your auto attacks with it to apply special defense reduction. This will make your moves hit harder on the target. So yeah, remember that every third auto attack is a boosted attack. An early combo you can use before you have your upgraded moves is Teleport, Auto Attack, Confusion. This is if you don't have a boosted auto attack. Your next auto attack after the teleport will be boosted, applying the special defense, making Confusion hit harder. This is situational though, you don't want to teleport yourself into a bad position. Teleport is also a great move to use as a strong escape. I just like to note that all moves have their own benefits, pros and cons. This is just what I think works better in my own opinion. The next one is Psychic vs Moonblast. Psychic deals damage over time and decreases their movement speed. The crowd control here is nice because they do move slower and it helps setting up your other moves. It has the potential to slow multiple enemies. I personally prefer Moonblast over Psychic. Moonblast crowd control is a stun, so it's a hard crowd control. Even though it only seems to stun one enemy at a time, I like that it also creates distance and it gives you a shield when it's fully upgraded. Because in Psychic, enemies can still use their moves, however with Moonblast, when stunned, they won't be able to use anything. I find that Moonblast is great for setting up your moves. So yeah, I prefer Moonblast for these combos that I'm going to talk about now. The other moves are Psyshock and Future Sight. I really like both of these moves. Both moves have a cooldown reduction. It makes Gardevoir feel like they're constantly ready to fight enemies, which I like because I'm a pretty aggressive player. The really nice thing about Future Sight is that when it's fully upgraded, Future Sight's move cooldown resets every time the explosion hits an enemy Pokemon. You can basically have this up again right away. It's really strong if you can consistently have the explosions hit. The combo you use for this is basically Moonblast into Future Sight. You'll be stunning them with the Moonblast, and then it's basically a guaranteed hit with Future Sight. This means you'll have the move up again right away. The con of this move is that it relies on the explosion to do damage. There isn't any damage before the explosion, so as you can see here, there is a delay before the explosion happens, which is why I recommend to have some form of strong crowd control paired with this move. The other combo is the one I actually used in my recent gameplay, and I loved it. It was very fun. Psyshock does pretty quick, heavy damage. What I like to do is Moonblast to stun them in and then do Psyshock. Psyshock control is very different to other Pokemon. You have to aim the initial hit, and then after that it's based on your Pokemon's movement. Each hit takes off 1 second, so if you do hit all 3, that's 3 seconds of your cooldown. The con of this in comparison to Future Sight is that it doesn't have that instant cooldown reset if you hit the explosion. However, I personally like that Psyshock was a lot more consistent for me with dealing damage. I find both moves really good, and I find them both great for team fights. A combo you could use is Psykick and then Psyshock. Since Psykick slows them down, it can help with landing all 3 moves of Psyshock. But yeah, that's all I have for Gardevoir's combo attacks. I find Gardevoir very versatile and amazing for team fights with its crowd controls and area damage. I'm actually going to probably use Gardevoir more in my ranked games to see how it goes. But yeah, Gardevoir seems pretty strong, that's my opinion at least. The Unite move is pretty situational. I would use it for team fights to secure objectives like Zapdos or the Dreadnought. If you see a bunch of the enemies bunched up, that's also a great time to use the Unite move to get some damage off. But yeah, it's very situational. As for Gardevoir's builds, what I'm using at the moment is Wise Glasses for the straight special attack increase for more damage, Shell Bell for more special attack damage, cooldown reduction and some health recovery, and Muscle Band for Gardevoir's basic attacks, increasing the damage and attack speed. This is to help me apply the special defense debuff, as well as more damage during the downtime of my moves. Some other builds that are being used by Masters are Energy Amplifier instead of Muscle Band. Energy Amplifier will increase the damage of Gardevoir after the Unite move is used and also give you cooldown reduction and increase Unite move charge rate. The other is Buddy Barrier, grants a shield to Gardevoir and nearby ally Pokemon with the lowest health, also gives you a big chunk of health as well. Since Gardevoir is pretty easy to take out, this gives Gardevoir some nice survivability. And that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this guide format for Gardevoir. If you'd like me to do short guides like this one for other Pokemon, let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe and click the bell for more Pokemon Unite guides, news and gameplays. Like the video if you want to add Gardevoir to your roster. You can check out my Gardevoir gameplay if you'd like, I linked it down below. Thank you so much for watching, trainers. Bye!